What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 482. My name is Steve, one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron, waka waka.
I'm just a poor soul condemned by God and cursed to walk in the shadow of death for all eternity and sustain myself on fresh blood. And I'm John.
Hey, John.
Hey,
good to see you guys.
got any extra blood?
Not at the moment.
Oh shit! Well, I always ask people if they have extra blood first.
Yeah, but do you have a mouse? Do you have a mouse I could?
You can squeeze and drain into a wine cup.
All you need is a fork and a cup.
How did he do that in front of that guy?
Good to go. Well, he was looking through his papers. He was trying to find the map.
He was shuffling through his papers. Yes.
He was trying to find the map
You need a
of
mouse.
the real estate property.
The mouse was hollering. Yeah.
Yeah, the mouse did I thought maybe the mouse was done for with the fork.
Yeah.
But then when Dracula squeezed him with his hand, the mouse was like, "No, I got more!" He had one more worse shriek. I think at that point, the guy, the solicitor, I think he was at that point kind of in denial. You know, when you sort of pretend you're not seeing and hearing what you're seeing and hearing. I think that he had his shields up. If I act normal, then maybe nothing terrible will happen to me.
Right. Getting a little ahead of ourselves here, and we're talking required viewing.
I guess we are. We're
not
so
there
exuberant.
yet.
We're so exuberant.
So we're going to talk about required viewing in a moment here, but was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? I thought maybe before we did it, we should have discussed this when we have our little recap before we actually hit record, but
yeah.
Did we want to mention the trailers real quick? 2 huge trailers came out.
I think we should. Okay. Even though we know we have one person who did not like one of the trailers at all.
It's fine. And that's what this is for. We chatted a little bit, but I mean, in between recording, it was kind of cool that 2 huge movies that we've talked about recently on the podcast, Dune, Messiah, and Spider-Man Brand New Day, released trailers, within a few days of each other. So to finally see trailers for, 2 huge films. When does Spider-Man come out? Is it
July?
In July, and then Dune's in December. But yeah, not just a short teaser trailer for either one, legitimate trailers. I don't know. I guess Ronald, you can start off letting us know what you thought about the Spider-Man trailer. When we talked about it, yeah.
0 out of 0.
0 out of 0.
0 out of 0.
So it's
a perfect score.
Perfect 0. Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, I love Spider-Man. First and foremost, you have to know this. You know this about me. I love the Spider-Man movies. We haven't watched one movie and I was like, oh, this one's ass, except for maybe the one. The one.
We haven't watched one except for the one.
The one that had 80 villains in it. Which one was that? That was the Amazing, the Spectacular, the one with
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Amazing
the last
Spider-Man 2.
The last one of them, which had 80 people in it, and none of them were good. But I've been loving this Tom Holland run, and I think what this kind of feels like is. I know it's a little more serious tone just because of everything, the events that happened on the last one. But I mean, I still want a little Spider-Man pick me up, and I just didn't get that from this. And it's 80 things going on in this trailer, 80 things going on. And I think that what I want from that, I mean, I'm interested. It is YouTube candy, but trailer-wise, I just wanted a more cohesive trailer. I don't know. It just didn't feel good to me like the other trailers have felt. I do want all of the elements. I do want Punisher. I do want Man Spider. I do want, it's I do want these things. I'm very into this stuff. I want it to happen, but it didn't deliver it the way that I thought it was. And why is Punisher silly? It's weird. It's Punisher was like, what? You're gonna take care of it? It's like very silly version of
Did
Punisher.
he watch a different
I think
trailer?
we saw a different
I
trailer.
think I
than
saw a
you.
different trailer.
He was silly,
Like
man.
he winked at the camera.
Yeah, he was silly in the trailer to me. I was like, what fucking Punisher is this? What silly Punisher are we watching right now?
It felt like Punisher to me. It felt like when Punisher would pop up in an issue of Spider-Man, where it's like they're both in New York. But I mean, to me, that's what I want. Like, I want the Punisher to feel like he's part of the Spider-Man tone. I don't particularly care for the grim tone, and like I like.
You don't like the one that talks like this all the time.
I like John Bernthal as Punisher.
Yeah.
I like seeing him get to do something that feels a little more fun in this, and I like that Spider-Man calls him Frank. And then he's like, go home. He's kind of like saying, we don't need anybody to kill anybody today. Go home. I don't know. I mean, the one thing I would agree with you about is I do think they're doing a lot. They throw a lot into that trailer. But after I watched it a second time, I really felt like, because I tried to go, I was like, why am I not out on Cynical Island with Ronald? I love visiting Cynical Island with Ronald. It's a great trip. But
it's right there with Leo DeCap and Shutter Island, right?
Exactly.
Right next to it.
Right. You can see Shutter Island from Cynical Island. But I got more in. Like, I did sort of, the first time, I will have to admit, it hit me in the feels so hard. Like, just Peter Parker's plight that he is in right now, I find really interesting and really sad and really touching. Like, I'm a person who's a big sucker for the fact that Peter Parker's always, we've talked about this on the show, a good Spider-Man story, Peter Parker is working against something. He's making up for a mistake. He's screwed in some way. He's compromised in some way. If he does the thing that he knows he needs to do, he's going to hurt someone he cares about. It's like, I like that this conundrum feels uniquely Peter Parker, and it made me sad for him. Like, the trailer started and I was like, yeah, he's got to watch his friends out there living their lives and he can't be part of their lives.
Right.
And even the little moment where he walks up to Bruce Banner and Bruce Banner says, "What's your name again?" It hit me like, oh, this is so like great in a way, because I'm glad that we've got Bruce Banner, and that, which makes me think we're going to get full on Hulk, like not smart Hulk, which is fun for a few movies or whatever, but I'm glad that we might have a guy who's worried about turning into a monster again. So I'm glad we got that. I liked the Punisher. I mean, I can see what you're saying about he's like moving over to the sort of MCU tone a little bit. But to me, I was like, oh, it's going to be fun to see John Bernthal negotiate that tone and hold on to this character that I think he's obviously concerned about. So, I mean, you can tell all the stuff that didn't work for you about this trailer totally worked for me. And I think it's because it really hit me emotionally. I do think it seems like there's a little muddle in there of exactly what's going on, and there's not really selling us a story. After the second time, I was like, oh, they're just not selling us a story yet. The story is Peter's mutating.
That's it.
And he's going to get
alone.
Yeah,
he's alone and he's mutating, and he can do some awesome new shit with his webbing that he does at the end of the trailer. That blew my son's mind. He was like, what is that? What is he doing? And then like that last shot of him jumping towards all of the like ninjas or whatever coming at him, that just feels to me like comic book supreme. And I will also say, I think from a behind the scenes standpoint, I'm kind of riding high on Destin Daniel Cretton after Wonder Man. And
that was so good.
So I'm believing him. I'm believing that he can bring, like, that he's one of these guys who can bring a tone and a feel to a Marvel movie that at this point I will be on board for. So I agree with you about the fact that they're not really selling us a story, but I think this is that kind of trailer where they're not doing that. The other thing I just wanted to throw out there that I think is interesting is this is not the first time that they've waited to release a Spider-Man trailer in this Tom Holland era either. Like, it feels like they frequently have us going, where's the trailer? Where's the trailer? Why haven't they marketed this? And previously it's been because there's been like a clusterfuck of Marvel movies coming out that year. And it's like, well, we've got to hype this movie, so we can't hype Spider-Man until we've hyped this other movie. But this year it's almost like there's a little bit more of a clear shot for it. So I'm kind of impressed that they waited until just 4 months before this major movie to get hype going for it. So I'm glad that even though you don't like the trailer, you're still in though, Ronald, that you said you can't give up now.
I'm in. Like, come on, like Doomsday is coming out. Like, I'm so in at this point. Like, we're collectively invested for 30 years altogether. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, why am I going to stop watching these things? And I love that, again, the fact that we're getting some Netflix guys in, you know, if Punisher's in it, it's not a stretch to think maybe Daredevil might be in it too. There's going to be 80 people in this movie.
People thought that Kingpin was supposed to be in this movie until not too long ago that people confirmed he's not. And I wonder if that's them trying to de-hype a situation where he might be in it, or if there really was a time where, I think there always is with these Marvel movies, there's always a change at some point in, like, oh, they think they might include a lot of elements and then they don't necessarily include them all. But yeah, Steve, you haven't said much. I know that you were in favor of it, but what?
No, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I kind of have been on the other side of it, of this feeling for more of the more recent Marvel trailers, where I kind of wasn't as impressed, but this one definitely impressed me. I mean, I think mainly because, yeah, I don't know, I guess I wasn't expecting the story in the trailer as much. I mean, I think, again, to your point, John, like, it's not inconsistent for them to not kind of give too much out about the Spider-Man films, the Sony's Tom Holland Spider-Man film specifically. It more so just wanting to see what it looks like. And I think because a lot of conversations had been had around, this movie filming on locations with practical sets and not as much, of the green screen sets in Atlanta, being all over the world filming this movie. And I think that's kind of cool for the movie, and it's cool for those involved with the movie. And I think the trailer looks like that too. I think the trailer looks so much better from a visual style than some of the other Spider-Man films that have been a part of the MCU. But yeah, just seeing Tom Holland back, I love his Spider-Man, I love his Peter Parker. I think it looks really cool. The changes that he's going through, the isolation with not having the support system that he has been used to having in the MCU around him, both in adults and superheroes and his friends. I think is an interesting thing, even though you see him with the Punisher, and he's probably got some other connections around town, you'd assume. But I just feel like just getting a sense of where this Peter Parker is after what happened in the last films was really satisfying in this brief trailer. And for me, the big takeaway is that it just looks so much better. I think the CG, the visual effects, the action sequences, I do agree on this choice of director, and I think it's gonna be a marked improvement. Not that I didn't like the other Spider-Man films under John Watts, but like there's something visually that's gonna be, I think, elevated in this film. I mean, again, like thinking of things from Shang-Chi and just other stuff that Besson has done, it's just like it just looks so much different to me, and it looks, and I think for the better is what I'm saying. But yeah, some of those visuals, and I mean, just looked awesome in a trailer, and it just got me super excited. I've been waiting for another Spider-Man film. I love Spider-Man. 5 years is a long time. It feels like, especially with all the momentum and run that had been going on prior to the last one coming out. But yeah, this trailer was, in my feelings, this trailer was great, and it's one of the more recent, or one of the only of the recent Marvel trailers that have really kind of like been like, that has really got me in. Not that I wasn't in, but I mean,
I know what you're saying.
That I was like, oh wow, this looks like a special one to me. Like, of the Marvel stuff, like this one looks really special.
I think for me, the trailers they've done, and I'm trying to think of the most recent ones. Like, I feel like Thunderbolts had a couple of really good trailers. Fantastic Four, it was
vibes.
Less about having a great trailer than it was about selling us on like an image of Galactus or something like that.
Right.
But what I think more often happens with Marvel movies when I finally see a trailer for them is I go, oh, this does look like a movie. Like, you know what I mean? So often you think about it as like a corporate decision, and you go, oh, they're in trouble. They're trying to get this character, and we know they're introducing this so they can do this later. And you hear about all that shit and the casting and who was in it and who's been cut. Then you finally see a trailer that looks like a movie, and you go, oh, okay, I see how this is a movie. But this one was like that plus whatever that emotional hook is that I'm talking about, where I'm just like, I feel for Peter Parker, and they're even 100%. doing the narration in the trailer that feels like, I guess this is something we do a lot with Spider-Man, but I think of the Spider-Verse movies a lot, with like someone narrating and saying, hey, I'm John Walker, and I'm also Spider-Man. Like, there's something about that kind of intro to one of these stories where they really are trying to get us to feel for him, and also that street level thing. I think that it's cool that they can emphasize that, because he's not super funded. He's not funded by S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever anymore, and he doesn't have Stark tech, and it looks like there's still some of that, like something in the movie, but it really looks like he's kind of on his own in terms of the tech. So I think that feels also like something fresh that is part of everything you just described, Steve. Like and if we think about the action scenes in Shang-Chi and we realize that's who's directing this, like I feel like the combat in this could be some of the best we've seen in a Marvel movie for all we know. And I also think Tom Holland is serious about putting himself out there. Like he wants to be physical. He really wants this to be, I feel like he's one of those guys who puts himself into it. And there is that one like physique porn shot in the trailer where he's shirtless and he's like, and it's like, you go, man, this guy has worked hard for this part and he's really like in tune with it. So yeah, I'm here for it. But I'm like you, Ronald, in the sense of, there's a lot going on in this trailer, and they do throw a lot. There's some of that bit with the narration and the Tremel Tillman. It's like they don't quite tie it all together in terms of us understanding what we're really looking at. But it's more like they want to show us who all they have, and the one person they haven't showed us is Sadie Sink, really, and she might be in the trailer, but we don't really know where she is in the trailer, and there's still scuttlebutt about who she might be playing, but I do think it's significant that they use the word mutating about Peter Parker. That's like the early Marvel movies, you'll notice they never say mutant, they never say mutating, they avoid it, but now they're
now they're allowed to.
Well, they're like leaning into the idea that like mutating is what's happening, so it's possible that they're opening the door to a whole new bit of lore. And is that Jeffrey Wright's voice on the trailer?
I thought I heard Jeffrey Wright.
I thought it was Keith David.
I thought I heard both. This is really
weird. At first, I
weird.
thought it was Keith David, and then I thought, who was that actor who narrated all the
was
murder?
Keith David towards the end, but I definitely heard some that thing he had. But I also,
but doesn't that mean Watcher? If it's Jeffrey Wright, that's Watcher, right?
Right.
I thought that he might be. Oh God. I think it's Keith David though.
I think it is too. I mean, that's who I heard.
I thought the Keith David might be what's his face? The
Lizard.
No.
That's what all Twitter's saying, that he's like a professor at the university.
The Lizard's gonna be the Hispanic dude, right? Like they showed
that's Scorpion.
He's Scorpion.
They're gonna have two amphibians in the.
Well, please. Scorpion isn't that an arachnid? I think that's like. I think it's an arachnid.
Oh, not arachnid. I'm thinking. There's another one. Scorpion.
Scorpions are arachnids. They're not amphibians.
Let me look at Scorpion because the costumes look so similar.
But I think that's interesting. Spider-Man, spiders are arachnids. So it never had occurred to me that Scorpion is like a good villain for him because it's another arachnid. But whose voice it sounded like to me too, that has been dead for years, but I had to say, Keith David started narrating this true crime show after this actor died. It was called City Confidential. Paul Winfield was the guy. Do you remember Paul Winfield? If you look up Paul Winfield, but he had the best cheesy narration on that. It was a true crime show on A&E, and it was like. It was always like, the colorful stuff about the town. The kind of thing he would say was like, when word got out in Bradford, Illinois about the murder, people were as mad as a room full of drunken polecats. It was that kind of shit. But it was just like, it was always somewhat related to the town. Anyway, and then when Paul Winfield died, they replaced him with Keith David. So it was a similar voice, But so, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was Jeffrey Wright just because he's in the Marvel Universe. But then as I thought about it, I was like, wait a second, that doesn't really make sense because they've never really brought the Watcher outside of What If. And I don't really see how What If has anything to do with this movie, but who knows? Maybe it'll get more cosmic than we think.
That's just another, hey, do you want to change time?
Right. I don't think they can do any more of that.
You want to alter the universe again?
Don't you think that it would be smart for them to not do that except in the big Avengers movies where they're clearly going to be doing some of that? But don't bring Spider-Man to street level and then put the Punisher in it and then have a portal open up. You can't do that. I do like him using webbing to stop the Punisher from saying motherfucker.
Yeah. That's kind of to the point what Ronald was talking about earlier, like it is like the Punisher can exist in this Spider-Man's world, and that's kind of why some of it will come off as kind of a little more sanitized, a little funnier. Yeah. But I think that's probably
it's Daylight Punisher. During the daytime, he's a little bit less harsh.
Sure.
So let's talk about the other big trailer that you were alluding to, which I thought looked pretty fucking awesome. Dune 3. There's some shots in this trailer that are just like, they get my little nerdy sci-fi fan brain just popping. Like, I don't know. Like, I think there's something, it's hard to describe what it is that Denis Villeneuve is doing stylistically with these Dune movies, but there's a cleanness and a crispness to it and almost like a simplicity to it that really can blow you away. And this movie looks like it has the benefit of having a lot going on. And I he's even said it's more action packed and it's more of like a thriller kind of story. So I'm really ready for that. I mean, like, I don't criticize that about the earlier Dune movies, but I do think like I want like something that feels a little bit more rowdy and a little bit more like an adventure. I would love to see, because I think they nailed the other part of Dune, which is the kind of weird, you know, it's thousands and thousands of years in the future, and there's been all this culture that's passed by, that like there's all this history that we find out. So the world is really built out. It's really developed. It's you know, I think that part has been, they've nailed that. They've set up the world. It's cool to see. This one looks like it's got a lot of incidents in it. And I can't wait to see more of Robert Pattinson's character. I think he looks really cool and weird. What did you think, Ronald, of Dune 3?
Well, these movies are just poetry in motion, man. Like, to anybody that doubts the star power of Timothée Chalamet, you've never watched Dune. I mean, I don't want to talk to somebody that's talking about Marty Supreme and thinking that he's not a star. Fucking watch Dune. If you haven't watched Dune yet, don't talk to me. He is a star. He's a star. He has this commanding presence, you know. And he is kind of like a kid in this position in the first two. That's really like a very big situation, and but that's the whole idea of it. He's supposed to kind of be this sort of man child that's kind of growing into this role and becoming the man that would be king. But yeah, I think there's something about that that's really appealing to a lot of people. I mean, these are popular movies that maybe wouldn't have been a long time ago. It's something about, you know, I feel like Star Wars had to have existed for this to exist. It's like we needed to see that space could look as expansive as it does in those movies, that the characters can look as interesting as it does. For Denis Villeneuve to be like, let's simplify this. Let's make space look simpler. Let's make, you know, these creatures, you know, these people, these suits look simple. It's something really minimal about it, like you said, but also like there's a lot going on in the empty space and the lighting and the expressions, and it's what I've kind of loved about. I don't know, like it feels like elevated almost, like it, you know, it's something about. Again, I can't help but think about how important Star Wars and other movies before it were in order for this to exist, and I'm glad that they exist. It feels like, you know, anybody that watches this movie and then shits on the old stuff is not understanding the reverence that Denis has for those movies in order for it to exist the way that it does. There's like. It stands on those movies. Like you could tell, like it's like a introductions of new characters. You're like, this feels very Star Wars, but it's not somehow. Like it feels.
Well, I mean,
like
Star Wars wouldn't exist without Dune the book.
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like it's a little bit like it's paying it back in a strange way. But no, I think what he'd said a couple times was like he had always thought he would like to direct a Star, or he, you know, like anyone, he kind of wanted to make one, and then when he realized like that wasn't maybe going to happen, or this was his best shot to do that, but even kind of grow it up a little bit, like just be like, I'm going to do something that doesn't have to fit that world. And so it is almost weird. It is interesting. It goes against the sort of the way Star Wars' aesthetic is so lived in, and so like patched together and looks like, oh man, this guy's been adding parts to this ship for 20 years and it's falling apart or whatever. Dune almost has none of that. It's got very much the streamlined stuff we're talking about. So it's cool to like take a chance on what some people could have viewed as, oh, you've made this feel less grounded or something like that. But if you really look at Dune, or if you read Dune, even the David Lynch version of Dune, you'll see that like there's something about it that feels kind of stylized in that way. And I think Denny has found like a great way to, like, I'm glad he's gotten to do this trilogy. I'm glad, and in a pretty short period of time too, that he will have had this huge thing done, and now he's going to go off and make a Bond movie. You know, like the guy's not messing around. So
feels like a gift. Like that's the only thing I can
right.
really
It feels
think.
almost
like,
unusual that we got it. That we got a full trilogy by this team, and it was intact.
Crazy.
But as far as Timmy being a star, you know, you mentioned like watch this and how can you not watch this and say that he's a star? You can't watch Wonka and say the guy's not a star. Like he's just one of those people that can sort of carry a movie. Whatever people want to say, sometimes he's a little too much for me too. But like you can't say that there's not some of that. Some of that is connected to something that is earned from a talent level. And also, oh gosh, a young guy with a lot of talent has bravado. I'll you know, someone please fetch the fainting couch for me. I'm not going to be that surprised. I also think it kind of mellows out. I think he's at the point where he might mellow out the way that like DiCaprio had to mellow out and different people had to mellow out, like for people to stop seeing him as kind of like too full of themselves. But
he's also like a New Yorker, which is another layer to it. Like he has like that big New York personality thing that I don't know if he's going to lose.
And he so wants it. He just so wants it. And I know people find it. I like I said, that's kind of grating to me. The guy who's like gunning for the award or whatever. But as far as like, you know, I think that sometimes that's the bravado that gets you to that point. I don't know.
I like you, man.
No, I don't dislike him. I feel like he's definitely taking his lumps at the moment because of that stupid comment he made about ballet and opera that he just shouldn't have. Like we all know what he was saying, but he said it in about the worst way you could say it. And then through one
Misty
of those,
Copeland comes out and
like,
Jesus Christ.
And then he threw one of those all due respects in that no one buys. It's like. But yeah, Dune 3 looks great.
It's awesome.
Anything else to say about that trailer before? I guess we could segue now into the Oscars. I just mentioned that Timmy didn't get one, but a lot of people did. A lot of great people did get Oscars. I think.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I'll see what you were going to say because I'll save my thought for after this. Well, how would you get into this topic, Steve?
I was going to just say overall, like the evening felt like a lot of great people won awards.
Yes,
electric.
But that the show itself was pretty bad.
You didn't like it?
I thought like the production of the show, even I love Conan, but even like the hosting, I felt was like very lackluster especially compared to last year. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was not an energy around the show, and I felt like a lot of weird things happened during the show, production wise, that felt like mistakes. You know, like coming back from commercials or cutting people off, like when. Golden won Best Song, like they cut off the girl who after like only she spoke. I don't know. It's just something just felt off with the show, with the production of the show. Like a lot of bits that weren't funny or just didn't work or that went on way too long.
Well, I mean that's the problem. And I'll confess, I did not watch. I've seen bits and pieces, but what I heard that seems like a mistake is that some of those comedy bits went on for a long time, and then they also were cutting people off. So it's like if you're going to keep the show on time, which they did, which a lot of people like that they keep it on time, don't do it at the expense of someone's acceptance speech. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Instead of like a comedy bit that doesn't know when to end. But I always find that kind of stuff to be a mixed bag. I thought Conan, some of his jokes were funny, like some of his kind of monologue jokes were good, but overall I did see a little bit of that like there's one, I think it was the Bridesmaids thing that ended.
That's the one that everybody's
and then
talking
it cuts to Conan, like they didn't have like the transition worked out, and so they just cut to Conan like off stage like about to come on or about to speak. It was a weird cutaway, or at least at some point it was a weird cutaway that I was like, oh, that just feels like what you said, Steve, like this is just not smoothed out at all. Like they didn't understand. They didn't have it choreographed as well as they could have. Not as within a segment, but going from like one segment to the next. it
Yeah.
was kind of clunky. So
Yeah, no, I just like that's something that stood out was that like I feel like last year was a pretty big boost for the ceremony and in terms of like viewership and also just like I think that there was some positivity around the hosting with Conan, and I think having him back was a good choice. And again, I don't think it's a Conan problem at all. It's just the production just seemed different and off. And again, a lot of the what do you call it? Like a lot of the introductions, the categories, like the jokes, like the Chris Evans, Robert Downey bit, like was very flat. I mean, just a lot of weird, awkward stuff that just didn't seem to hit. And that said, the winners, though, I thought like the spread of winners, the kind of flavor of genre and
yeah,
just diversity among everything. Like I just felt like it was a pretty cool looking ceremony when it comes to who is winning awards. I thought that was pretty exciting.
yeah, for a horror fan especially, it was cool
Oh
to
my
see
God,
so
yeah,
much
dude.
like
Yeah.
horror love.
Oscar so Warner Brothers.
Well, was it like a last hurrah for Warner Brothers in a weird way? Like
Yeah,
the
it
Warner Brothers
feels
that
like
we
it,
know?
man.
Right.
It feels like it, like two indestructible movies. It was a year that they kind of dominated. I mean, and not even awards, just conversation. When I wasn't hearing about One Battle After Another, I was hearing about Sinners. Like, and those were the two that kind of remained in the conversation the whole year.
Mhm.
I did see a little more Sinners than anything, just because it became like a lot of cultural moments in that movie.
Yes. Well, I think there's an interesting thing about that, which is that, and if you look at the reactions online, there's a lot of folks who I feel like were energized to watch the Oscars, and maybe they're not like lifelong Oscars watchers.
Yes.
Who were excited about Sinners and were like, as often happens when a movie gets some major awards but then doesn't get the big award, the two big ones. It's like people say, how can a movie get best original screenplay and best cinematography and best actor and best score and not get best director and best picture? But then on the other side, you're like, well, this movie got best editing and best adapted screenplay and best casting and best director. So it's like, I guess what I'm getting at is this so clearly would have been the year of Sinners.
Yeah.
Maybe a sweep of sorts in all the major categories, if this wasn't also the year that a career genius like Paul Thomas Anderson puts out a pretty damn good movie. Like, if you look at his movies, this is what the type of his movie that people do get jazzed about and get, and so it's like, I think Paul Thomas Anderson, he made the point about 1975 when all those great movies were up against each other. And it's not like one of them winning means you've forgotten the other ones. You know?
Absolutely. It's a great
and
quote.
It's not like, oh, they awarded the wrong movie and that we've forgotten that one, the way that happens sometimes. So I do think there's a funny thing going on where I was talking to Bob Rose about this, and he was making the point that like, you don't lose an Academy Award. Being nominated is an honor, and then you might win, but you don't lose. You know what I mean? The idea of a snub or a loss is really kind of incidental to the idea that you're being honored by being nominated. And I think it's pretty cool. Like, if I'd been walking out of Sinners and you told me that movie's going to win 4 major Academy Awards, I would have been like, oh, that's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I do think there's no question that Ryan Coogler is going to win Best Director one day, and one of his movies is going to get Best Picture one day. But it is also equally shocking that that Paul Thomas Anderson hadn't won before.
It's the first one, yeah.
Like, you would have thought it had happened for these other movies, and I do think there's a Leo effect. Isn't it true that like he's the guy who gets people Academy Awards?
Yeah,
Isn't
James
like
Cameron, Marty, and now PTA.
and now PTA. But so I don't know. I feel like I'm glad to have a celebratory attitude about all the cool things that won, as opposed to this sort of sour grapes about it would have been cool to see Sinners sweep all these different categories. But it's like, in a year where you don't have Paul Thomas Anderson putting out a great movie, probably you would have swept. But it's like, he's now in that position of being the old guy that we love his work, and it feels right to honor him for a movie that admittedly has a whole other, the cultural conversation about both of these movies, which might be what you were kind of alluding to, has been strong. And it's been like there's been a lot of people on one side or the other of both of these movies. So I agree with you, Steve. That was my general feeling, was like, wow, what a lot of cool wins.
Yeah, and I mean for the horror stuff, it just feels like it's like it just you're just like etching away at some big thing when like soon it feels like. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for the genre, every year, there's always that conversation around like amazing performances throughout the year that like would never get now acknowledged because it was a horror film. And granted, there are exceptions. Some movies break through.
Yeah.
But in most cases, most of those films don't really have a chance of winning.
Right.
It's more acknowledgement from peers, through the nomination process. But you just think back, over the last 10 years. Movies are getting into nominations more and more from the genre. Movies are winning more and more from the genre. And then for, Warner Brothers to have 5 wins and even Netflix winning for Frankenstein, like movies that are in that genre are winning really legitimately important awards in the ceremony. You just think about Get Out, Get Out getting all these nominations and kind of breaking through and being that juggernaut and winning an award.
Mm-hmm.
And Sinners getting all these nominations and winning 4 awards. And Frankenstein, you know what I mean? It's a very good vibe around the momentum of the genre of talent and Hollywood, putting eggs in that basket that like these things make money and they can be legitimately great and win Academy Awards. So like, why not make more of these when audiences want them and the material is there to make them really special? And Sinners is like the paramount example of that. Is like right now, like that's like masterpiece level filmmaking, and they walk away with 4 of the biggest awards of the night. It's just amazing, and it was so exciting to see the love for that film throughout the evening.
I cried, man.
Yeah, it was.
I cried like a baby.
Michael winning was just amazing, and all the wins were great. Listening to Ryan speak was great. Everybody talking about that film.
I love Ryan. I love he's so
he's a special dude. Like
I don't know why he seems. I mean, I don't know him, and I've never known him, but he seems to me like a guy who hasn't changed one bit.
Yeah.
From his fame, like he doesn't change.
I love it, man.
He doesn't change into a different mode of like when he's talking in front of people at the Academy Awards. He seems like that seems like that's the same guy that you might get if you knew him. But yeah, I love him, and it's so cool that Michael B. Jordan won an acting award, and again for playing twins and a vampire and all this shit. It's like it's a great win
wild
for genre. And then we haven't really talked about it, but Amy Madigan winning for Weapons is the other piece of that. That's just like that's the type of role that I like to see win. Where it's like it's unquestionably a high point in that movie and one of the things that makes that movie gel.
Hell yeah.
And it would have been cool to see, there's other people in that category and all the categories. Like I would have loved to have seen Delroy win, but I'm not surprised at all that Sean Penn that performance won. I mean, and I know the wisdom. Oh, he's already got a couple or whatever. But Sean Penn was great in One Battle After Another. But it's like, I think in my heart, it's like I like it when a character actor like Delroy Lindo gets a kind of at bat like that. And I don't think it'll be his last chance. But he's had, wasn't he up for Da 5 Bloods too? Or am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
Was this his first time being nominated? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I for some reason thought he was up for that one.
I think that was the no, I'm pretty sure he wasn't, because that was the whole conversation, was that he should have been.
Oh, okay.
And then when he got this, it was like, should he have been nominated for Sinners, or was this like retribution for not nominating for that? But it's like, no, he should have been nominated for both.
Right.
Kind of thing. But no, that was his first nomination.
Okay. Well, either way,
is also crazy.
It is crazy because he's one of those guys that's been so great for so long.
So good. For so long. Yeah. No, it was a cool show in terms of, again, like I feel like seeing movie, and honestly, like in a lot of movies winning that I saw and really, really liked.
Well, K-pop got an award
K-pop, too. Yeah, K-pop winning Best Animated Feature, Best Song. That's a big win for a movie I loved.
Amy Madigan winning, but also Ed Harris's face.
His look. I know.
Oh my God. Also made me cry.
That's special stuff right there.
Yeah, man. It's just like
they've been together like for 40 years. Like, wow. That's legit.
Just you just got a pride. Like there's like a thing. Even if you do the same thing as your partner to have that pride in.
Oh, for sure, man.
Oh yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You're right. No, yeah. Especially for someone who's been respected for as long as he has, and she has too, but it's like maybe she's one of those names that percolates under just a little bit, and now she's up here. So yeah, no, that's cool. And it's got to be cool to be her and be like, oh yeah, this weird movie that I took, this almost kind of risky role, but also just the sort of role that you take. If you're an actress at that level, you're like, I'm not going to pass up a chance to play this kind of crazy part. You can't be thinking it's going to get me my first fucking Oscar.
100% agree.
Insane. And the videos of her and Tiana Taylor reacting to each other.
Oh, I love Tiana Taylor's reaction, and so many people were telling her she was doing too much or whatever, but I feel like it feels very genuine to me. And she said that it's almost the moment when you want to show the most joy is for when it's not you, but it's like that's a moment where it's like important if you have her, what seems to be her philosophy, which is just to kind of be a live wire.
Man, did you see that video of the TMZ video of her,
the kind of pushing incident?
No. There's like a video of she's like on the street, and there's a TMZ tour, and the guy's like, Tiana Taylor, we love you so much. Everybody on the bus loves you. Can you come and say hello? And she's like walking, and she's like, all right, cool. She hugs everybody on the bus, and she can't hug the bus driver. So she's like, if I could, I'd hug you, but like there's a little barrier between. But she blows her a kiss, and I'm like, see, that's, I've been rooting for Tiana Taylor for a really long time. So she's a musician. Yeah, she directs movies. She's also a dance coordinator. She's a lot of shit, man. And to see her kind of fall into this acting thing, and she's incredible.
Wasn't she in a Kanye video?
Yes,
wasn't that like her big break?
She had been around for like 10 years. Yeah. But then that was like the thing that like
blew up. Like she's like dancing in the video. Yeah. Like she looks amazing.
Fade. It was a Fade video.
That's it.
Where she's like dancing by herself. She's gorgeous, by the way. Yes. She's like has like a warrior body. Anybody that wants to see Tiana Taylor, look at Fade by Kanye West.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, but she did go viral. That's when people really started to notice. And
I remember that. Yep.
They're like, oh, who is this? Who is this person?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you just look at somebody that is that excited and like positive about stuff. Man. It's like, and what you forget, and like a lot of the winners and even just people being interviewed mention this a lot in their speeches. It's like they're around these people for like 6 months ish. 3 to 6 months, like on the campaign circuit, on just promoting their movies when they're coming out, depending when the movie came out, and to spend that time with one another, like they legitimately like become friends, and like they are literally like Amy Madigan's literally like, I'm by myself on this tour, and like and they're all just like inviting me into their group to hang out, and like I appreciate that. So, and she's like thanking all of them for that in her acceptance speech. Like, that's a real thing. Like that's the real deal right there. It's a real person who's appreciating a real person. And Tiana is like, she's acting like a real person. Like some people would be that excited. Like some people aren't jaded and upset that they didn't win an award. They're just excited that they're even there, to John's point. Like it's a pleasure and a privilege to be there. And there were unique moments of that and genuine moments of that throughout the night, seeing people's reactions, like seeing like Pedro be so excited for Michael B. Jordan, seeing Jesse Plemons like like applauding him and rooting for him like from the crowd when he
love their friendship, man.
Like Friday Night Lights comes alive.
Well, I love that because that's two guys who've been talented all along,
and they've been at it for a while. Who
are like fucking at the top of their game right now, and like at the top of the game. One of the other things people seem to agree about is that Jesse Plemons should have been in there somewhere for an acting award, because he really is great in Begonia.
He is.
And he's another person who's like, he'll get his.
It's not if when, right?
Yeah, it's just a matter of when, because you talk about, I don't know who the fuck his agent is, but he picks them, man. He knows the right roles. He's so perfect in everything I see him in.
Yeah, he's great, man.
It's just a matter of time, like you said.
All right.
Well, yeah.
So good winners. Pretty good year for movies. And I gotta say, like the Schmovie top 10 list pretty well represented at the Oscars this year.
Yeah.
Look, we called them. That's all I gotta say.
I think we just
called
put our eggs in the Warner Brothers basket and we just kind of coasted there.
Oscar so Warner Brothers, man.
All right. So what do we got next? We got required viewing. So this was my pick this week was the 2026 or 2025, depending where you look, Dracula from Luc Besson. Coming off of the night shift choice that Ron would have, I was sticking with a vampire vibe because I heard a bunch about this movie around the Super Bowl because the big PR thing about it was that it was the only movie opening against the weekend of the Super Bowl.
I didn't know this movie existed until Henry went to see it.
Yeah.
And said, I said, what movie are you guys going to see? And he said, Dracula. And I was like, Dracula?
So funny, man.
I was like, wait a minute, are you guys going to a revival screening or what? And then I looked and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then when I asked him, he was like, it was good. Or it was pretty good or whatever. I mean, he liked parts of it or whatever. He's open to whatever. I think I definitely could see what it was. Knowing his taste, I could see what it was he liked about it when I watched it. But this is one of those movies where the question of whether it's good is almost beside the point because it's so crazy. It's just crazy that it even exists.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy that it is coming out this close to Nosferatu, which is, as we know, like a remake of a movie that was doing Dracula without being able to use the name Dracula. And we've seen, it's also like crazy that it's got gargoyle servants in it, that turn into little weird bald-headed boys when the vampire dies.
That's what happens, though, John.
Yeah,
that is
like
the craziest
Dracula
part
has
of
a
the
weird
movie.
case, man.
Yeah.
Does Dracula have a weird case? Because it's
he's not like us.
He's not at all.
I don't know. This is I just kept hearing about it, so I picked it, and I was surprised when you said that Henry actually went and saw it.
Yeah,
but again, it was like the only thing to be able to see in theaters for like a week and a half or almost.
Well, it makes sense that's why they saw it, because that weekend it probably was. Okay, this is new. This is something to see.
Yeah.
And maybe even, I don't know if they were as familiar with the Dracula story as we would be at this point. There's really almost no surprising beats in this story. I will say this movie tries to do its own thing. There's a few things it adds to it that are unique to this version, like the whole reincarnated, the Mina being a reincarnation of Dracula's like lost love is something new, and also the gargoyles are new.
Yeah, real new. It's like stop motion. I don't know what they made me uncomfortable.
But it was almost kind of cool that the CGI with them was made to look a little bit like stop motion or something.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't great CGI, but it was going for something that was hyper real or not quite real or something. So I do think there was, and I guess we should talk about that. That like, it's Luc Besson, so it's going to be kind of stylish and maybe a little garish, and you didn't know quite what that would mean. But I don't know. I found to me this is the perfect indicator of this movie's level of subtlety, is that when he goes to Italy to like work with a perfumier. What do you call those guys that make perfume? A perfumier, a centaur. But like it's a little Italian guy who's helping him make this perfume, which this is this movie's explanation of his hypnotic powers. Or is that he has some kind of magic perfume that hypnotizes people. But that the Italian perfumier, at one point when he sees what Dracula's plan is, he says, "Mamma mia!"
Yes. That's pretty much through the whole movie. There's a lot of scenes.
That's the tone of the movie.
Intentional comedy or unintentional comedy. You never really know.
Camp.
Camp is great. Like that's a great way to put it. There's like a look or a reaction shot, like a body movement, just so overplayed that was something I kind of took out that I was hoping that somebody would mention. Was that it had that, like, even like there's moments where it feels like Dracula is like sort of making a joke, when he's talking to people.
His laugh is crazy.
Yeah, that laugh scene. Well, it's Caleb Landry Jones. We should mention that. And that's like, he's a nut bar actor, right? I mean, he's a guy you watch to see play an odd role. So it's like, that's a huge part of this, is seeing him kind of like, it's really sort of like, I've seen where I've looked at a few reviews today, and a few people used the same joke, which is this should have been called Luc Besson's Bram Stoker's Dracula, because it very much feels like it's drafting off of the Francis Ford Coppola version, especially the hair on Dracula, the big, goofy hair. And I was like, when did the idea of him having a lot of hair, when did that come into play? And a lot of people attribute it to Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 1992 movie. But the description in the book does say that his face is hairless, unlike every other part of him, or something like that. And there's a suggestion of long hair. And they say that like somewhere in there, like around this, somewhere in there is the idea, the suggestion of aristocracy and the bizarre fashion of like outdated fashions. And so I saw a lot of like paintings and, illustrations that had the kind of hair that we see on Dracula, where it's like piled on top and different shapes. And so that there were a lot of things that were kind of working in confluence when I think Francis Ford Coppola made that choice to have Dracula have like a big crazy hairdo, that it was like meant to be reminiscent of an outdated, at the time of the story, someone whose fashion is like 100 years late, but also somebody whose fashion is based around aristocratic, ideas that like, this is proof that you're sort of a man of leisure if you have this giant, if your hair's grown out and done up. So outside of some of those choices that felt really derivative of the 1982 Coppola film, I think this movie does try. I mean, there is the Luc Besson aspect of it, that it's going for something, the camp, whatever the garishness of it seems to be wearing that on its sleeve. Like, whether you like that or not, that's a feature, not a bug, of this movie, is that it's like, it's got almost no taste. I mean, in the sense of like no limits to what it will do. And the camp effect of it, it's hard to know whether they knew they were being funny in some of those scenes, but it feels like they did. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's no way you could make this movie, especially like the dance sequence.
Yeah.
That they know that they're doing something comedic in a scene like that. And that's, if you don't know the movie, folks, there's a scene where Dracula goes all around Europe with his fancy perfume, hypnotizing people because he just sort of believes he's going to find the reincarnation of his love. It's kind of a weird plan, but there's a lot of dancing. There's a whole middle section that, doesn't have like modern music on it, but it practically could have like, you could have like,
I think the score is Danny Elfman.
Yeah. And I thought the score was pretty solid. Like, there were some good melodies in there. But it was very much like Danny Elfman, in the style of Danny Elfman,
Yeah. What do you think of Christoph Waltz in it? Not good is the answer.
I mean,
not good.
There's
I
a
liked
couple.
him, but it was,
Like what's missing, Ronald? What's missing from that performance that we normally get from like even like a turned? Because Christoph Waltz can do the camp thing for sure. Like, what is it that's missing from this? He's almost not going far enough.
He's not. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a performance. It like feels just kind of like
a
out
walk
of place
through
to me.
Yeah. And he's doing like the kind of explanation thing that he was doing in Django, like just kind of explaining very quickly. Like, he is the backstory. Like, he is the explanation of why everything's so chaotic, and that feels weird. Like, I didn't want him to be the sole source of the backstory, but he was. I mean, no one knew anything about it, and then he's just like, vampires. This is when it started. This is when it happened. There could be a person. Where's it? These are some symptoms. This is the. I was like, God damn! Like, is he gonna be all the exposition? And he was.
Yeah.
and that's what bothered me.
Yeah. Same.
But I fucking love this movie. I don't know what it was. It was so.
I don't know that I love it, but I definitely came out of it like, I did like this movie. Like,
it was so entertaining. That it was good. It was so.
No, I had so much fun watching it. Yeah.
I don't even think I would call it bad. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's not that far down the scale for me that it's bad, that it's good. Like, because I think there are like legitimately some cool things in it. Like, some of the stuff that I think Caleb Landry Jones is doing as Dracula.
Yeah.
Is and like the focus on like the tragedy of.
Yeah, man, that was sad as fuck.
Yeah, the romance. I mean, making him a romantic hero, like really taking that to the nth degree is something I don't know if I've seen quite done this way before.
Exactly. Like, I kind of felt like that worked for me for the most part. I mean, there were moments of it where some of it was kind of silly, like we've said. But I mean, I don't know. Like I felt like this was an easy watch, and I felt like it looked good enough. Again, the score is pretty good. Like I think the performances were fine, some better than others. I kind of like Caleb Landry Jones in general because he's like kind of a wild card. It's like, what is he gonna do with this performance?
Yeah.
And there were some sequences where like I felt like he kind of looked cool as Dracula.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Especially some of the costume design that he had, like when he's like when he's like going to find Mina, like the him in the world stuff, I thought looked kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like great or anything, but it was kind of better than I thought it was going to be blunt. Like I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But yeah, I don't know. It's like a cool vampire Dracula movie. It's like, yeah, I'll pretty much watch any of them, and like say, at least I watched it.
I think that Mina as a character was pretty fascinating. Like I didn't typically two movies lately when they have a person being like the source of like admiration and like I'm lustfully
Right.
I thought that about this and Nosferatu, the two leads. I was like, they're beautiful. Like this vampire figure has a right to feel it the way that they do about these two women, and it felt very real. Like it felt earned. It felt like, and it was this version of Dracula was less creepy when he approached her. I mean, he was very forward, but he was like,
but he was kind of nice. Like he was like he was like respectful because I feel like he was like committed to knowing that like her will would not let her not have him.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Yes.
Like it was like, if you want me to leave, I'll leave.
It was like some agency involved.
Yeah,
it was
like totally.
If
agree.
you don't want it, I mean, it's cool. I can leave. That's
100% agree.
I kind of like that.
I might get mad and kill everybody, but I'll leave. Yeah,
yeah, I'll kill the shit out of everybody. But look, if you don't want it, I can leave.
Right.
And I kind of love that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a take, I guess, in that sense. And I think
that's right.
That's the thing that
for sure, man.
I felt like it got a little long towards the end, but outside of that, I agree with when you said an easy watch. Like I found myself, like I was surprised at how much when I put it on.
Long in a tooth?
A little long in the tooth.
I got it.
I felt like it was draining my blood while I was watching it towards the end. But no, the just the general feel of it, like I really liked the kind of prologue part where we see Vlad when he was a king, and we see like the origin of him, and the idea that he's like telling God to fuck off, and like that's why he's a vampire. I liked that sort of explanation for why he is the way he is. The curse is God doesn't want him, and he can't go anywhere. And I thought the scene, I do think he should have tried different ways. But the scene where he keeps jumping out of the tower to try to kill himself, I thought was kind of funny. And I think it might have been fun to have a montage where he's trying other ways of killing himself and they don't work. But just that, again, I've never thought about, maybe it's been dramatized before and I just haven't seen it, but I've never really thought about like Dracula having to accept that he became a vampire. I feel like I've always seen Dracula already a vampire, and maybe when he recounts his story, we see like a few shots of him as sort of Vlad, the Impaler or whatever. But this gave us a little bit of that, I think most of the history we think we know about Vlad the Impaler is all made up, but that's beside the point. We got a little bit of that history that we think we know about Vlad mixed in with a kind of, unique origin story. And then the whole idea that his queen or princess is reincarnated as Mina. That's just, I mean, they've had that idea that there's something fated about them, and that she's kind of turned on by Dracula. We've seen that before, but we haven't quite seen them this linked before, at least not in my history. So yeah, it was fun. And I think that question, like I said, the question of whether it's good or bad is almost beside the point, that it's watchable and it's really going for it. Even the makeup when he was old looked kind of neat. Because they put Caleb Landry Jones's freckles on it, like, I don't know, there were so many little touches that just feel like, and I feel like you really feel him going, holy shit, I can't believe I get to play Dracula. Like I get to actually do it, like a whole movie. Not just am I not playing like a side character in this movie, but I'm Dracula.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I wonder if he called up Gary Oldman and asked for advice or anything. I wonder what Gary Oldman thinks of this movie.
So where are we now, John? John, pull up that bearded dragon.
So the question is, am I going to go with the program, or am I going to pull a Ronald and pull away from the theme?
That's a good question.
It is a good question, but I'll have you know, I'm feeling like a team player. So we are going to keep Vampire Month going.
Here we go.
I'll clean it. I'll finish up the cycle.
Manifested it.
There is a movie that I have not seen that I always intended to see, and it came up this week when I heard some people talking about Stack and Mary in Sinners and their kind of fate as vampires, you know, and like what their lives have been like in the 60 years since the first part of the story, when we see them at the end of the film in like the 90s or whatever. And just that idea of a vampire couple kind of growing old together, and a movie that I've always wanted to watch, but never have watched. And this seems like the perfect opportunity to do it. Jim Jarmusch's The Only Lovers Left Alive, starring Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston, which seems to be about like, now these people are pasty white, but outside of that, you could imagine this is the life that that Stack and Mary have lived, because it's sort of about what do you do when you're immortal and you're just you're with somebody and you're kind of growing old together. I saw it referred to as a hangout movie with two aging vampires who are kind of bored with immortality. I've seen it referred to as somewhat of a romance, somewhat of a dark comedy. A little bit of a horror. I don't know. So it just sounds like an interesting movie, and those are interesting actors to watch. And so, yeah, I thought The Only Lovers Left Alive would be a fun one to watch. And I'll go ahead and throw in a bonus movie. I'm going to do this. I'm not suggesting anyone else out there should do this. The other movie that I almost selected that is quasi-vampire is the Tobe Hooper film Life Force. So I will come back with a Life Force report, because I haven't seen that movie. All I know in it is that there's a woman who's naked for a large part of the movie. That's when I was a young man. That's what I knew about that movie. So I'll be talking about Life Force just to let you know how it stacks up. But the movie that I'm requiring you guys to watch is Jim Jarmusch's The Only Lovers Left Alive.
We did it. We kept the theme. There we go.
Kept the theme. And the other movie that I was going to watch, it's just gotten kicked to next round. And when you finally get to it, you'll understand why I thought it was a bit of a gift for at least one of you that I picked this movie. So, you know, that's just a little something to look forward to.
I'm excited to watch. I've never seen it. I've always...
Me either.
It's kind of floated around. I almost saw it I remember almost seeing it in theaters when it came out, and just didn't work out. But... yeah, good cast. Anton Yelchin's in it, I remember, I think, if I'm the right one I'm thinking of. Yeah, he's in that one. So, yeah.
And what did I gonna say? Oh, yeah, you're right. It does have a good cast. I had not looked at some of the other people.
Yeah, Anton, Tilda, Mia. Which
now seems really special to have an Anton appearance in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright, John Hurt, Mia Wasikowska. Yeah, some good folks.
And it's on Tubi.
Oh, awesome.
Get out of here.
And it's our first Jarmusch, I think, that we've done on required viewing, which might seem strange. He's a guy who seems like he would be a good candidate for that. So yeah, there you go.
There it is. All right. What's next? Let's talk about... What are we talking about? What are we thinking here? Jury Duty, the new season?
Yes, let's do that.
John, you saw it. Ronald, you haven't watched it yet, or you have?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm very excited about it, though.
Okay, I only watched the first one, but John, you watched all three, so why don't you start us off?
We're getting 3 episodes. When this episode of Movie Schmovie comes out, we are all available. We're all allowed to watch 3 episodes on Amazon. I don't know why I phrased it that way. That you're allowed to watch the show.
You have permission. I grant
we all have access. But yeah, those 3 episodes really do set up a storyline that you can sort of sense, like, okay, this, you don't need more complication really beyond this to give the season a shape. Similar to the way the last season had like there were a few episodes in before they kind of set things up. But I think you could have even just had the first episode. Like, yeah, I don't think you necessarily needed to triple up to get people hooked, because even in the first episode, you can see what a perfect extension of this concept it is. Man, they really nailed it. And Ronald, they did such a great job of casting this dude that they found the real dude. If people don't know the show, Jury Duty was a documentary about a bunch of people who've been chosen for jury duty, where everybody's an actor except for one guy. And it's sort of watching how a person reacts to these strange situations and kind of giving the person little tests along the way of like, how are they going to handle certain things? And that secret weapon of that show, very similar to the show Joe Schmo from a couple decades ago, if you watch that show, is that like if you put a fundamentally decent person in this situation, correct, then it's kind of inspiring to watch how a decent person reacts to these crazy people, and these unlikely people. And they're all played by improvisers and people that can really dig into a character. If you really know your improvisers, you'll spot some people in both of these seasons' casts. There's a few people that I've spotted, who I know from like Comedy Bang Bang, or just that I know from seeing pictures of improv shows that are happening in LA. But it's a safe bet that they've cast someone in the real person they cast is someone who probably isn't knowledgeable about those things, or I would imagine they try to find someone who's not connected to those scenes. But Ronald, they did it again. They found a super sweet, nice, charming guy who, like, no matter what happens around him, he's kind of unflappable, and he's like real supportive of everybody. God, and he's kind of a real like cheerleader for people, and partially because he's just gotten this job, so he's trying to do his job.
Yeah, exactly.
Which adds a wrinkle that I think makes him feel like he's a little bit less like he's being lied to in a strange way, because he could walk away from this job, But there's I do wonder at the end of the season how this guy is going to handle finding out that these people were all putting him on, because he's already shown so much heart towards these people that I would imagine they go home at the end of the day and they go, oh man, it was tough lying to this guy. But no, he's great. Anthony is his name, and he's just fun to watch. And he's got some of the funniest moments are him reacting, So yeah, I'm totally hooked on this concept. This is such a sweet show, but also I was thinking this time, like I said to Nikki, if this was just a sitcom, I'd watch it. Like, it's a really good workplace sitcom. The performers they have are playing really funny characters, and the spin on the workplace is fun. Everybody's like an archetype you recognize, but it doesn't feel like they're repeating the dynamics of a show like The Office. And like even like right down to there's one person who's a remote worker that nobody's ever seen in person before who shows up to this retreat, and she's totally like a house cat kind of person, like she's she's carrying too many bags, and she's spraying a bunch of bug spray on herself. And one person, when they meet her, they say, oh my God, they'd only known her remotely. Like, I thought you were black. She said, I got to get a new computer because my screen's really dark. And the girl says, you can just turn up the brightness. So it's like the people are almost too silly to be real, but they managed to do it just right. Where if you were in that situation and you were getting paid, you would be like, these people are a little nutty, but I believe it. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I've just talked about how much I love it, but I really do think it's a really successful extension of a show that you might have wondered, could they ever do a second season of?
Yeah, no, I feel like just that question around what could they do for another season to kind of make it bigger. I mean, in scope, really, it is much bigger, I think, because, they're kind of going outside of I guess it's kind of a controlled set, but it still is. But yeah, this idea of like a new hire at a company that is, kind of experience, like from the trailer. I haven't only seen the first one, but what's to come in terms of like the succession plan of this company, this hot sauce company. Just an awesome idea. I mean, I love the people that you see that you've been introduced to this early on in the season. And yeah, the guy they have is just like, again, I haven't seen all the episodes. We'll see through as the season goes, but the first season, Ronald was like a pretty special person. Yeah. Like you learn that pretty early on, and that's kind of what makes it all work. And Anthony seems very much the same, and especially in the scope of like what the craziness is that's going to happen that they're controlling at this company retreat type thing. I can only imagine the kind of craziness that is going to happen. But to see this guy's reaction in those scenes and in scenarios, I'm excited. And yeah, so I was looking. So it's 3 episodes come out today, and then it's 2 episodes next week, and then 3 episodes the last week, which is basically the whole season's coming out over the course of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So 8 episodes over the course of 3 weeks. So when this podcast is out, the first 3 will be up, which I'll hopefully have watched the rest of those. But yeah, just like the introduction to the setup and the story and what this guy's being made to believe is happening. Is viable because like people want a job. You want to work. You get this job as a temp, and you're just like, yeah, I want to just go along with it. Hey, I get to go to this retreat. Perfect timing.
And they're shooting a documentary about the company for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's like, if I just go and keep a good attitude, he probably thinks it's hilarious, and he can't wait to get home and tell people about these crazy people that he works with or whatever.
Totally.
But it's not so horrible that you would be like, get me out of here. It's just...
I totally agree.
Well, Ronald, I won't give anything away about how this happens, but the premise here is that he comes in as assistant to the HR guy, and they go on a company retreat, and then that guy leaves for reasons that happen, story reasons. So he's now like been like escalated to like a role that he wasn't supposed to be in. He was supposed to be the assistant to this guy. Now he's serving that guy's kind of role in terms of the company. So it's like within an episode, they get you to go, oh yeah, if I was this guy, I would be doing what he's doing. I'd be like, I've got to fill the shoes of the guy who was sort of this guy who's called himself Captain Fun on the retreat, so he's trying to be that guy. And it's like, so there is something kind of, again, they found a gem of a guy, so he's like happily going, well, I got to do this thing. And maybe off camera, he's calling his family and saying, you won't believe these insane people, get me out of here. But as far as how he's presenting, and again, the idea, would they be filming a documentary about this company? I could see you believing it. And
sure.
Just enough for however many days this has to last. I mean, surely it only has to last about a week or something for it to feel, or 5 days or something even, for them to get 8 episodes. Or what is it? Yeah, 8 episodes that are a half hour long out of it. So, I mean, for me, as like a person who's done some improv, I think it seems like it would be the most fun thing in the world to just go and pretend around a bunch of other improvisers. So you can see the people that are having a lot of fun kind of building their characters. And I think it is relatively scripted as well. So there is a lot of backbone that feels almost like you're watching Parks and Rec or like The Paper, that the Office spinoff. It feels like it's in that family of shows, but it has a real reason to be the way that it is. So it's like the documentary format really makes sense for this. So I'm hooked. Like, I think we'll probably end up plowing through the whole season pretty short time. I don't think I'll have the patience to wait and watch it like I'm supposed to. But it is, maybe they do put out a couple episodes at least at a time, because you do finish one episode and kind of feel like you could just roll into the next. It's that kind of super watchable show. Real easy. Yeah.
I'm excited to watch more of it for sure. Have you guys watched anything else that you want to talk about?
Not I.
Why do I feel like I watched something? But I guess. Oh, I went and saw Hoppers.
Oh, how was it?
That's what I was like. I knew I saw something I wanted to talk about. I liked it. I didn't love it. Like, I kind of like, I was looking forward to seeing. I thought the trailer was really funny. And I feel like there's been a lot of love around it, just in terms of
it's been getting like a bit of a hype, actually.
Like a real hype around, an original Pixar film doing really well.
Pixar's back, baby.
It's back, baby. But yeah, I really liked it. It's super funny. It's got the heart. It's got the jokes. Great voice cast. The animation looks great. My kids loved it. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with this movie. Like, I think maybe the only thing that I was like, maybe it just didn't feel maybe as emotional as I thought it might, based on like the earlier parts of the film. There definitely are some really great emotional bits, but it's got some silliness in it that I think audiences really kind of connect with, or connecting with, then. Rather. Yeah, you're count like anti-silly.
No silliness for me.
But no, I just love the idea of like the focus on the like animals and caring about animals and like why it matters, and like not that that's not in any other movies, Disney or otherwise, in terms of animation, but there's a character who like literally her life goal, even when it gets her in trouble, is to take care of animals. And like, that's who the lead of this film is. But yeah, all great cast like Bobby Moynihan, John Hamm, Sam Richardson, Dave Franco. It's an awesome cast. But yeah, I really liked it. It's very funny, very sweet. And again, a cool idea. There's even a joke in there. I think it's in the trailer. Like the whole premise of like quote unquote hopping into this like animal, this mechanical animal to like, go observe only. When the lead says like, "Oh, so Avatar," and they're like, "No, it's not Avatar at all." Like that's just a fucking great. This is a great joke, and especially in the scene because it's like scientists arguing about how it's not Avatar. It's just very funny. But yeah, that's a cool idea. It's like, oh yeah, she's gonna go act like an animal to learn about the animals, to help save the animals. It's just cool. Like the body swap element of it works really well. And I can see why there's a lot of love around it. I hope it continues to do well. I think that's on track to possibly to be the most successful original animated film since Coco. So pre-pandemic stuff. Like it's a good time at the movies, man. It's a really good original animated film that I hope continues to connect.
I'll just throw out a quick, you mentioned original film, a movie that I saw that I really dug for a lot of those reasons. I had a couple of issues with it, but Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I really liked it. It's really funny.
Nice.
I mean, if you like Gore Verbinski's kind of vibe, where it's like Terry Gilliam light or something like that, the way he puts together these visuals that are really full of details and has like a real kind of momentum to his movies. The movie felt like it was the color correction. A lot of this movie is like blue gray and kind of dark. And I was like, I don't know why they chose to do this. Like, it feels like it could have had a better color palette. In fact, there were moments where I thought if this movie had the color palette kind of turned up a little bit more garish, I think it would have been a way more appealing movie to watch, but within that, it's just, I didn't know the setup of this movie, but the way that it works is, it's a little bit like 12 Monkeys meets Groundhog Day meets almost like an anthology movie, because, the premise is that Sam Rockwell's come from the future to try to save Earth from this AI that is like, it basically to modify an AI that is going to take over to make it less evil. So he's got this now. It's like a Terminator / whatever scenario where you're coming back to the point before this awful technological apocalypse happened to try to influence it in a certain way. Right. And as he goes along, and that's like the setup, you kind of get that mostly from the trailer, but like even in the opening scene of the movie, you kind of get the scene in the diner where he shows up. And you find out how many times before he's done this. But he gets this group of people together to go on this mission. And as we go on the mission, we almost get like a little Black Mirror episode flashback about each of those people that explains what they were doing before this that kind of put them on the path to be right for this mission, where it's like sort of about technology. And so like, there are, again, to call them Black Mirror episodes really might be the best comparison, because everybody's story is a little bit like, oh, there's a technology where you can clone somebody that's died that you care about. Or there's a little technology that all the students are using where when one teacher touches a kid's phone, it suddenly enacts this hive mind of these kids who don't want you to take their phones. So little things like that, a boyfriend who gets too into virtual reality, like things like that become the little stories that set up why these characters are the way they are. Yep. And because it's a scenario where Sam Rockwell has done this many times before, he has a certain kind of like lack of attachment to people because he's done this before and everybody has died in so many different ways. And so you're watching one iteration of this thing, but you are presumably watching the one that works. So, I mean, that's like the setup of the movie. And then the rest of it is just the story of what they're trying to do. But it's very funny. And, like a lot of movies that are a little over 2 hours long, maybe it could have been a little under 2 hours in terms of what it does with that runtime. But, I really liked it. I mean, I just had a lot of fun with it, kind of discovering what was happening in it and where it was going to go. And, the question of, like, there's no question. If the movie I just described, if you have any question in your mind, could Sam Rockwell tie a movie like that together, then you haven't watched him in his career. This is exactly the kind of fast-talking, funny, oddball role that he excels at. So, he's a great sort of tour guide on this nutty story. And I do think Gore Verbinski is one of those directors who has an unusual command of, I don't know, kind of an absurdist tone, or there's something he can do with visuals and storytelling that again, to compare him to Terry Gilliam or someone like that is not too far off for me. Just that, like, you feel like you don't quite know what he's going to bring to it, but he often brings a little sparkle to something, he's not always doing great stuff, but like for instance, like, I love the movie Mouse Hunt, and I think that that movie has a lot of that kind of ramshackle humor in it. So this has got that.
Cool. I want to watch this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ronald, anything you see? You said no or nothing?
No, it's been pretty dry on my end. Man.
Okay.
What have you been doing, Ronald?
Oh, Kill Bill,
Oh yeah. You posted about this on your with Kaleidoscope.
Yeah, it was good. It was. It feels like a different movie the way that it's put together. Like, it just
tell folks what it is that you're talking about, in case they don't know.
Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair is the way the Kill Bill movie was originally supposed to be shown. Quentin Tarantino shown it many a times at his theater in California, which is so damn annoying. And what people have done essentially for the past...
Wait. Quentin Tarantino did something annoying?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Since the movie's been screened in California over the past 10 years, people have gone into the theater with a pen and a pencil and essentially written down the edits and made their own versions of it.
Oh, wow.
And this has been circulating for the past couple of years.
So there's no new footage?
There's hella new footage, actually. So there's a bunch of storylines that didn't connect that people have kind of seen online. Like, Michael Jai White is in it, and he wasn't in the original. There's also extended animations that are in it as well. So there's a little bit extra. Not a ton, but maybe 10 minutes or so of new stuff. And then a completely new animation that got added to it, which it's interesting, man. It really works. It's beautiful too. Like, seeing it in 4K and Dolby Vision. It's worth checking out.
So does this feel like the definitive way to watch this, or does this feel like kind of a bonus extra way to watch it?
It does, especially knowing that this is how you wanted to show it at first. Like, when I first heard about Kill Bill, that's the length that I heard it was going to be, 4.5 hours. Like, and then it just goes like, he was like, oh, well, the studio's telling me I got to break it up. But yeah, I think so. But I think because it's been the way that it has for so long, I don't know if people could go back on it. I think there'll always be a screening of Volume 1 and Volume 2, and then someone that's just like, well, actually, the whole bloody affair is as it was intended. There's always going to be that person. Well, actually,
that was the nerd ghost.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, it's almost like a legend. Ronald, I love that your hand motions keep making your camera zoom. You mentioned 4K. I just want to get what is your opinion of this Amazon thing that starting in April, they're going to put all their 4K content behind a paywall, and it's a new tier called Video Ultra. Doesn't that seem kind of shitty?
It's terrible, man. And I know that Netflix has done it too, but come on. I mean, like, this was supposed to be the service that didn't cost quite as, it kind of felt like a bonus.
Yeah.
With your Amazon Prime, like, you get, like, day shipping, and holy shit, what what's this? This extra that comes with it. But I don't know. It feels like robbery, man. It feels like they're trying to rob the hell out of you through more money. Like it just feels like
I'm beginning to think they only want our money, Ronald.
I think they only want our money. But the cool part is you can get it as a standalone now, which wasn't the case before.
Okay, so you could spend just $4.99 and get that?
No, I don't think it's $4.99 by itself. I think it's a little boosted if you get it by itself. It's like quite a bit more. But if you get it with the shipping, it is that extra. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I figured you wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. 4K should be accessible for all, Like, I don't know why they like. I mean, I'm always gritting my teeth at damn Netflix and the fact that there's like a HD version and then a 4K version. Mm-hmm. When most of the stuff they put out right now is in 4K. Like the majority, all the original Netflix stuff is in 4K.
Yeah.
And then you can't. But what I noticed is that the audio quality is still there. So like you get something in HD, but also has Atmos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that. Give me all or nothing, But I'm still subscribed to Netflix, so they got my balls in a vice.
They got you.
Ronda Rousey is fighting again, and I can't. Now they got the sporting events. They got me in a vice. Live events, man. That was the missing piece for me.
Yeah.
It's the only place where I can watch wrestling now, too, which is a shame. See, they got me in a vice. I don't know. Balls in a vice grip became like a thing. Who invented that? It's like, man, they got my balls in a vice grip.
I mean, it's like, I guess if it ever actually happened to anybody, if it happened to me, I would talk about it. It would spread as a saying.
Yeah.
And then they had my balls in a vice. Like, I don't think I would stop telling that story.
Right. They meant business.
Yeah.
And my balls in a vice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's another thing like that. They got my I don't know.
They got my hand. My hands are tied. Like,
my hands are tied. Yeah, that's a mild version.
I mean, it is weird though. Like, my hands are tied.
For some reason, I went right to a line, one of those Norm Peterson lines on Cheers, where he comes in and they say Norm, and they say, "How's it going, Norm?" And then he says, "It's a dog eat dog world, and I'm wearing Milkbone underwear."
Yeah. Oh God. Jesus Christ. That's nuts. Oh, I guess it is nuts.
Yeah.
She's.
It's nuts and balls.
Oh, let's see here.
You doing your taxes, Steve?
Yeah, I was like, how am I going to owe the state that much? No.
Calculating total. Like,
I don't have that much money.
How much do I owe? Fuck the state.
Yeah.
But I don't have that much money.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, cool.
Ronald,
John's
those zooms.
Yeah.
Did Zoom again?
Yeah.
Recap
Piece
real
of
quick.
shit.
John's pick for next week's required viewing: Only Lovers Left Alive. Again, it's on Tubi for free, or you can rent it digitally on all the platforms if you want to pay a few bucks. I guess to avoid the ads. But yeah, I don't know. You decide. You could save your money and donate it to me for state income taxes. Movieschmovie.com is the website. You can go there to subscribe to the podcast, to listen to the podcast, to jump into other podcast platforms if you prefer to subscribe elsewhere. You can do a lot there, but you can do more on YouTube, youtube.com/movieschmovie podcast. You can go there for the full episodes, the shorts, audio alone, also Ronald's series, The Home Cut for the Kaleidoscape reviews, like they mentioned earlier. They're all on the YouTube channel as well. So you can go subscribe to that, hit the bell to get notifications about when any of that new stuff comes out, the main podcast, the shorts, Home Cut, all the goods that we have to offer. And if you listen, subscribe, interact anywhere, comments, stars, reviews, ratings, anything you can do to engage, we'd love the feedback. Yeah, we're always looking for it. We never see it, but it'd be nice to see some. So feel free to interact or kind of engage in any way that you have time to do so. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, you've made our day. Thanks.
Bye.
Blah.